What's something you believed to be true for way too long, only to find out much later you were wrong? When my grandma came over to take care of me, I used to get tea bags and move them left to right and act like I'm hypnotizing my grandma, which I then took advantage by opening the fridge and eating stuff my mom didn't let me. Years later, when this memory came to mind, I realized my grandma was pretending to be asleep and spoiling me in the process. Ahahaha. When I was 7, I touched a bare electric line, received a shock, went crying to my mom. She was preparing dinner at the time, making a salad. She gave me some lettuce, said it would make a shock go away. I didn't eat lettuce, but it was worth making the pain go away. The pain subsided, as it would have regardless. So I believed her about the lettuce. Years later, Mom overheard me telling a friend about lettuce being a cure for electric shocks, and confessed that she'd made it up. I thought that my plants were genuinely thriving because I cared so much for them. Turns out, I was just painfully overwatering them, which made me the world's worst plant parent. I couldn't figure out why they neither grew nor died. It was an emotional roller coaster until the sad realization hit they didn't need my love, they needed me to leave them alone. Lesson learned: sometimes, caring too much can drown what you love. Now I have rock stars of succulents thriving at the back of my garden while I completely ghost them. Who knew neglect could be so liberating? After the 1989 earthquake in San Francisco, there was a story about a guy who stole a car from the Giants vs. A's World Series game. He was later crushed to death in the collapse of the Cypress Structure Freeway in Oakland that same day. I told that story numerous times, thinking it was a real story of ironic justice. Then a book on urban legends was released, and it was featured as the first example of a completely fabricated story. I still tell the story, but now as a cautionary tale of not believing everything you hear. I believed through college that if someone studied hard and worked hard, they would become successful and rich. Growing up in an affluent white suburb, it just made sense. Anyone in a bad situation was just lazy or a drug addict or a criminal, and it was their fault for not trying hard. It wasn't until I got out and saw the state of the world and met people who didn't have the same things as I did growing up that I truly saw the inequity in the world, or even just a few towns over, and I realized that it's not just a matter of picking yourself up by your bootstraps to make it in this world. Holy fuck, there was a post on Reddit a day or two ago where some guy was showing all the money his friends owed him, and the amount of victim shaming blaming in there was unbelievable. Like, yeah, obviously the guy was being taken advantage of because he was naive and kind and trying to help out with his friends' sob stories about being unable to make rent for a few months, etc. But the number of comments flat out blaming him for the situation or trying to make him feel like a shitty person or an idiot and just straight mocking him was absolutely mind-boggling. Obviously, in the future, he's sadly going to have to become more cynical or risk being taken advantage of again. But at no point did he do anything wrong. He's a kind person trying to be helpful to friends he believed the world would be a much better place if everyone was like him. The number of comments trying to make him feel like he's the problem and not the assholes taking advantage of him was just exhausting to see. That no matter what family would be there. Most of them weren't there for my mom as she got sicker. Didn't even visit her in care facilities or hospital. Some only came to say goodbye after I told them when she was in palliative care and didn't have long. Before then, they didn't even bother calling her. Family was a big part of my life growing up. We always caught up, spent weekends, holidays. When some members got sick, most of them just disappeared. It hurt my mom. Now they want to act all sad on socials. My sister died, I lost her. Poor me, no. You abandoned her before she died. When I was a kid, my parents told me it was illegal for children under 12 years old to be home alone. I found out only recently that the minimum age actually varies by state, and many states are far less than 12 years old. We lived in California, where there actually isn't any set minimum age requirement, and it's left purposely ambiguous to allow for more flexibility when it comes to enforcement. Regardless, 12 years old is likely way older than what would be considered problematic in any state. I found out about all this after commenting in a parenting subreddit post about leaving kids home alone. I'm a parent with 2 kids now. I confidently chimed in that leaving a child home alone below the age of 12 would be illegal, which sparked a lengthy discussion and torrent of downvotes for being wrong about various state laws on the matter. That all Americans wanted what was best for America and the people in it, even if they disagreed how to get there. It's now become crystal clear that half of us just want to be amused by the shit show of our leaders terrorizing people they don't like. They don't care about liberty or opportunity. They want you suffering and dead. They always have.